welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham. Whoever you are, whoever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here.
If you'd like to participate or comment in our service, especially during our sharing of joys and sorrows, please use the chat feature in YouTube. Thank you all who participated or attended our virtual talent show yesterday. It was so fun. At last count, we have 34 folks who registered for our retreat at the mountain in North Carolina on August 27th to August 29th. We are hoping to have at least 60 to have the mountain to ourselves. Reverend Julie is working on the program, but there are lots of opportunities the mountain provides. Hiking, a labyrinth, or hiking trails, a labyrinth, a farm, and a playground, and so much more. We'd love to see you there. Please register ASAP at themountainlc.org/UUCBHam. Today after church, children's choir meets at the church at 12:45, and the programs for children and youth start at 1:30. Masks are required. Please join us as we send off Miss J on her next adventure. Also today after church, David and BB Roberts are discussing the health benefits of Tai Chi and Qigong in our Zoom coffee hour after lunch. Please check out this morning's announcement. The prelude prepares us for worship.
As we light this chalice,
We take those little sparks.
glowing within all of us.
And combine them to create this flame.
I rarely end up where I was intending to go, but often I end up somewhere I needed to be. Douglas Adams, The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul.
Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equality for all. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Birthwell Partners, an organization focusing on providing direct support to pregnant women in need. They offer doula and other support services before, during, and after delivery. Birthwell Partners has been helping pregnant women in need for a decade this month. During this time of social distancing and online worship, please know that church expenses continue. Therefore, we very much appreciate your continuing to pay your pledge or offer donation by either mailing a check to the church office or by using PayPal or Venmo. Our Venmo account is at UUCBHAM. Please Designate whether your offering is for UUCB or for Birthwell Partners. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our share the plate recipient. May we give in love and hope.
On the rocks, time stands still. The circle cycles around us, the ever-changing seasons, the leaves that turn from green to scarlet to brown, then they drop away. Nothing remains the same. Spring renews. I will water my heart in the rays of the sun. I will grow in the fertile soil and sprout like a seedling, unfurling into a fruitful vine. Love is my fertilizer, helping me grow.
525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? In daylights, in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, and laughter and strife. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year in the life? How about love? How about love? How about love? Measuring love. Seasons of love. Seasons of love.
525,600 minutes. 525,000 journeys to plan. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a life of a woman or a man?
In truth that she learned, or in times that he cried, in bridges he burned, or the way that she died. It's time now to sing out, through the story never ends. Let's celebrate, remember the year and the life of a friend. Remember love.
Oh, you got to remember the love. You know that love is a gift from above. Share love, give love, spread your love.
Measuring
Measure life.
Seasons of love. Seasons of love.
Hi, everybody. Will the children please come forward? I hope you will enjoy today's presentation by our own UU Village of Hillary Rodham Clinton's book, It Takes a Village. Enjoy.
Sometimes it takes a child to make a village.
We all have a place in the village.
And we have a lot to learn.
Kids don't come with instructions.
And neither do grown-ups.
Every child needs a champion, or two, or three, or more.
And the right tool for the job.
Everybody needs help sometimes. Kindness and sharing and caring matter.
Care matters too.
So does rest.
So is rest.
Girls, hurry up.
Because the world is in a hurry and children are not.
The village needs every one of us to help and every one of us to believe in each other.
Children are born believers and citizens too.
Let us build a village worthy of all of our children.
And now, please join me in singing our song.
Each person is worthwhile. To be kind in all you do. 3, we help each other learn. 4, and search for what is true. 5, all people get a vote. 6, build a just and peaceful world. 7, we take care of the earth. That will bring us back to me and you too.
Good morning and welcome to RE Sunday. This morning I would like to share with you a reading adapted from The Everything Seed by Carol Martinacco. Have you ever watched a seed grow? Have you ever noticed how it begins so small, so still, so quiet, like a gift wanting to be opened, and how slowly it wakes up, begins to unfold, growing into something larger? Once, long, long ago, way back before the beginning, so long ago, there was no such thing as time, because there was no one here. Everything was a huge, deep, mysterious place, like something waiting to happen. There were no stars, no sun or moon. There is no place like Earth, not a drop of water, or a single tree, or rock, or flower. There were no living beings anywhere. But in that deep waiting space, hidden was the tiniest point. You might call it the everything seed, because that is what it became, unfolding and blossoming forth. And the universe was born. We were there with all the stars and planets and the rocks and oceans and plants and animals and people. Everything that now ever was or ever will be inside that first tiny seed. So whenever you hold a seed in your hand and wonder what it will become, imagine how you and all that is here once came from the tiniest speck of the everything seed. Now, most of us probably think that religious education seed begins here in our nursery, the room where so many of our children began their journey as Unitarian Universalist. They were nurtured and loved and held with care as they grew in this faith. But for many, the seed of religious education may have begun much later. That seed can manifest itself and blossom anywhere and at any time in our church. And when that seed is planted, it must be nourished. Perhaps your seed was planted while you were in an elementary class or during a youth group, and that seed may have budded as an adult, like myself, when I was finally able to find a place in a faith that felt like home, one that felt comfortable and real, and one I had longed for most of my life, but until recently had only known existed. My religious education in this faith was nurtured by this community, its leaders, the religious education families, and by the countless others within this congregation. I was encouraged and motivated by many, some who have held this faith tradition for many years, and some who, like me, had just discovered it. Religious education is much like a garden, but just as a garden is not only a seed and gardener, religious education is more than a child and a teacher. A garden is a complex system that is rich and diverse, that works together to ensure the seeds in the garden blossom and flourish. There are hundreds of thousands of different variations of seeds. Seeds are extremely adaptable and resilient. Some seeds can grow in very dry and hot conditions, require very little water to survive, and others thrive in nutrient-laden soil with just the right amount of water and sunshine. And some seeds are so persistent that even though they've fallen through the cracks in the concrete, they continue to burst forth. Children are much like seeds, each unique and beautiful, and they do not require a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to their blossoming faith formation. Every year, the call for teachers goes out into the sanctuary, yet every year the same people volunteer to teach. Perhaps that is because you do not see yourself as a teacher. Many of us, when we think of what helps a garden grow, might immediately think of bees. And while bees are great pollinators and extremely important, some seeds are spread by other pollinators, better suited to meet that seed's specific needs. That pollinator could be a butterfly, a hummingbird, a bat, maybe even a fly. When you heard that call, you might have thought you weren't the right kind of teacher. But what exactly is a good teacher? Parker Palmer says good teachers possess a capacity for connectedness. They are able to weave a complex web of connections among themselves, their subjects, and their students, so that students can learn to weave a world for themselves. There have been numerous studies that show the relationship between teacher and student, when it is a positive one, has increased student scores and motivations. So sometimes teaching is as simple as finding a connection. Now our seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence, speaks of this interconnectedness. But often, when we think of the seventh principle, we think of our relationship to the earth, and we miss our relationship to all the inhabitants of this earth, including other people. That principle can extend into every aspect of our lives, bringing the seventh principle into our church lives, connecting us to all aspects of our faith home, not just the sanctuary. Some may feel they don't belong in religious education because they don't have children or they've never worked with children. But you may be exactly who one of our children need. Just as the seed is connected to the garden, the teachers, children, and church community are all intertwined and useful within the religious education program. Before you try to put yourself in the box that you believe what a teacher may be, think of yourself as a necessary facet of this garden that needs your gifts to grow. Maybe you have a talent that you can offer. Maybe you love to sing or dance or paint. Perhaps you love to draw or read manga or play role-play games. It might be that you love to garden, go for nature walks and identify plants and animals. You could enjoy talking about philosophy, justice, and politics. I am sure there's a child in our religious education program that will be fascinated and delighted by what you have to offer. Teachers come in many different forms. And when we teach, we live our values. Being a teacher challenges us to bring our best selves forward, and it challenges us to be seen. And anyone who knows a child knows that you will be seen for your truth, and a child will speak the truth. And I challenge you to let yourselves be seen. Some of the best moments in my tenure here were times when I was just being with the children, teaching them, as well as learning from them. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart when I tell you that these are some of the most amazing and spirited children, and that being involved with this program is a reward in and of itself. And I challenge you to take ownership of this church and to make it yours. This is your church. It's your community, your family, and these are your children. This coming year, even though I won't be with you as your director of religious education, I want to encourage you to live boldly, to step outside your comfort zone, and to do something you may never thought possible. This church and this religious education program, with its support and love, allowed me to do just that, to step out and to reach into uncharted territory. All of you were my teachers in this journey of my faith development and my yearning to share this justice-oriented faith tradition that is accepting and loving to others, and to help me embrace and encourage people who may feel lost, just like I did, and to heal their hearts and mend their souls. I would like to close with the rest of the Everything Seed. Now, if this were an ordinary story, it would end right here. But this story is of the universe, and it keeps unfolding. What once began in the blazing blossoms of light continues every day. New stars sprout open in the deep soil. Seeds of many kinds are scattered all over the earth, and new people are born every day with that spark of that first light still alive and burning deep inside, waiting, like the Everything Seed, to shine in ways that are yet to be known. Thank you. Blessed be.
In August 2019, this congregation and Nicole Jacobson entered into a formal covenant with one another as she agreed to become our professional director of religious education. In turn, the congregation agreed to recognize Nicole Jacobson in this role and to support her in this work. And you both have done fabulous jobs supporting one another in this shared ministry. Today, we release Nicole Jacobson from our covenant with her as our Director of Religious Education. We wish you the best on your journey as you pursue Unitarian Universalist ministry.
Nicole, are you ready to be released from this covenant?
I am.
Will the congregation please join me in releasing Nicole from our covenant with her? Nicole, we release you from your covenant as Director of Religious Education. We thank you for accepting this responsibility and for leading and shaping the religious lives of our children. We promise to recognize and respect your boundaries as your role with us changes, and know that an intentional time apart is healthy for you and for us as we transition to new leadership.
I release you from your covenant with me. I am grateful for my time as the Director of Religious Education, entrusted with shaping the religious, spiritual, and ethical growth of your children. I will continue to walk with you in the spirit of mutual love, so vital to our life together at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham, even as I step aside to make room for new leadership.
We thank you, Nicole, for all of your work among us. The interim leadership of the Religious Education Program will be in the hands of Amethyst Vineyard in consultation with Reverend Julie. Amethyst, do you promise to share the work, to call on all of us to help and support you in carrying this light in this upcoming time?
I do.
We do.
We have given thanks for your ministry among us and for all of the blessings of this shared time together. We have made a new covenant around our religious education program. May we all be bearers of the light of our beloved faith as we continue our journey together. Go in peace.
Listen to me.
We extinguish this flame, but keep its light in our hearts, with its message of love and justice, taking it outside to these walls and the world we live in until we are together again.